upon a time we were dreaming. Now we're on the come up, steady scheming. We ain't got a lot, but you know we believe in what we feel in our hearts as we reach for the ceiling. They all just frowned and shook their heads. I nodded with a smile and took their bets. Came out on top and they all on the losing end. Nothing turned out how they thought it really should have been. And I ought to thank them for real. Gave me the fire that turned me to steel. If love is war, life is a battlefield. Headed for the sky, wonder how that'll feel. Ready to be living it, making dividends. Winning is a goal and I know that I'm getting it. My rise to the top is getting imminent. Waiting on the challengers, go ahead and send them in. This song's for the winners, never giving up, never giving in when life gets tough. This song's for the soldiers, never call it quits. Live for the challenge, they can never get enough of this. Song's for the winners, never giving up, never giving in when life gets tough. This song's for the soldiers, never call it quits. Live for the challenge, they can never get enough of this. I can see the sun's rays and they're parting the clouds. My path is so clear and I'm walking it now. I think all the haters are starting to doubt why they hated in the first place. It's hard to figure out where all of that came from. It's a shame, son, could've come along, but you're digging your grave. Someday we can set aside our differences and you can chill in my villa, sipping on expensiveness, slacking with the bitterness. Relax, the battle is over, let me bury the axe. Set down your blades, dull your tongues. We out of the ring, so off with the gloves and let's shake hands like men do. I don't need to rub it in, what I've been through. It's clear I'm the winner, but you can win too if you let go of the hate. It's so simple. This song's for the winners, never giving up, never giving in when life gets tough. This song's for the soldiers, never call it quits. Live for the challenge, they can never get enough of this. Song's for the winners, never giving up, never giving in when life gets tough. This song's for the soldiers, never call it quits. Live for the challenge, they can never get enough of this. This song's for this song's for this song's for this song's for the winners, never giving up, never giving in when life gets tough. This song's for the soldiers, never call it quits.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Pi Day. I'm sure you all are aware of the Raspberry Pi 5 finally being released. We're going to cover a little bit of specs today. Just wanted to get up an early start. I barely got any sleep last night. Didn't go to bed till about like 1 or 2, and right now it's about 7 o'clock. And so some of the questions you guys have asked is, where can you buy a Raspberry Pi 5? So before I get started, let me go ahead and paste a link right now in the comment section. So these are approved resellers as far as where you can go out and buy a Raspberry Pi 5 right now at this very moment. Now, since I've been up late, been up early, most of these websites have not stocked. So I know that there's been comments in RetroPie Official and several other groups that I run. No, they're not sold out. I think I've seen a few comments on Twitter. Most of these companies, I know Element, for example. But before we get into that, I know try to keep some of this short for the most part. These are the approved resellers. I know kiodiekin, most of these companies here have not updated their website. So you guys are still in luck. I believe you guys should get some of these towards the end of the month. The only website right now that I know that currently has Raspberry Pis in stock, and yes, we are live, the pieshop.us. So this website right now currently has some in stock, I guess, as of a few seconds ago. I guess they're out of stock now. They were in stock 5 minutes before I went live. They had some just a minute ago. So maybe they'll update their website again. But let's take a look at the 4 gigabyte model. Let's go back to the Raspberry Pi 5. You can see these are all the brand new accessories. This is the Pi. Well, let's see, that one's out of stock. Let's go to the Pi 4 gigabyte model. Apparently, this one's out of stock. So, yeah, as far as I know, this is the only website that currently had some in stock as of 5 minutes before I went live. But again, this is the full list. Is it only pre-orders right now? Yeah, it's only pre-orders, and I do believe that they are coming out October 23rd. I'm not sure if that's when they're shipping. I'm not sure if that's when everybody will get them, but pre-orders are available right now. And so supposedly there may be other revisions in the future for a 1 gigabyte or 2 gigabyte model. But I will tell you guys with the type of performance you can expect, just so you have a better ratio performance power at 2.4 gigahertz. This is running at a quad core processor. Let's see if I can pull up my spec sheet really quickly. It's a 2.4 quad core gigahertz Broadcom processor. It's a brand new, it's an upgraded model to what they had on the Raspberry Pi 4. So you want to make sure that whatever applications, whether it's gaming or multimedia, you want to make sure that you have enough spread. So personally, I wouldn't suggest a 1 or 2 gigabyte function board. Reason being is because the amount of power that this board can put out, you should be able to video edit on this, play all of your 1080p, 4K videos, your GoPro video, drone videos on this, and use this more as a desktop PC as opposed to just using it as a single board computer. You're going to get more out of this if you have more RAM. But again, this is the approved reseller list. Ella Parts, Geek Factory, PieBox. kiodiekin hasn't updated their website yet. Micro Center has not updated their website. In fact, I have Micro Center website right in front of me. It has not moved since last night. However, they do have 17 in stock if you guys are in Southern California for the Pi 4s. And it looks like there's been a slight price drop on the Pi 4s. Remember, these were about, what, $55? Not much, but $54. So I'm sure we can expect the rest of these to drop down in price. But as far as additional revisions, I would personally just kind of stay away from that right now, even though they only have the 2. I covered this last night or yesterday afternoon at about 3 p.m. or so. Somebody alerted me that there was a new Pi, or that there was an email. Spent several hours just trying to validate the authenticity of that email, and then this is where we are. I uploaded my video. I was online with customer service from Element, who leaked the email hours earlier, and they informed me that there was going to be a 7 a.m. Video from the Pi Foundation with the announcement. So obviously a lot of content creators already have them. Let's check the Raspberry Pi Direct website. Let's see. I don't see anything for a Raspberry Pi 4. So let's go back. We'll go ahead and close this out. Roblox. Let's check this website. Let's see if they happen to have any. What's going on, Carlo? Yeah, prices have gone down. I know some people are wondering what are the prices for the Raspberry Pi 4 or the Raspberry Pi 5. I'm sorry. They are $60 and $80. So those prices are here to stay. I think those prices are justified for the type of power and performance you are getting. If you guys know, we've been doing a lot of development. Let's go ahead and translate this to English. We've been doing a lot of development with the Orange Pi 5. So I'm not going to do it today because I want to make sure I have all of my facts and all of my things in front of me, all of my slide sheets. If you guys remember, if you follow my public Facebook posts, I've been making a lot of comments in regards to claims about specifically the Arcade 3399, which is what some of the arcade companies are using. I will give you a full performance breakdown based upon specs, based upon what I've seen, what these chips can do. And a lot of it's been misleading, but I will go into detail in terms of the architecture of the Rock chips compared to this brand new quad core Broadcom quad processor. And so I'm actually happy that they came out with this when they did, considering that been doing my research, understanding the architecture of how those particular chips work. And this could have been more than perfect timing. I mean, this was absolute perfect timing, considering that this is a quad core processor at 2.4 gigahertz. So this is a Raspberry Pi 3 in front of me. So this clarifies my thoughts, things I was speculating in terms of performance. Is would Raspberry Pi opt to go with a 6-core, 8-core processor, or would they stay with a traditional quad-core processor, but then just bump up the power and the performance of it to about 2.4 or 2.5 gigahertz? And so if you guys have watched Jeff Steerling, he did some bench tests. I don't have those slides in front of me. So Raspberry Pi 5, in terms of a multi-core processor competing with the Orange Pi 5, is kind of up there. And I believe, based upon his spec, the Orange Pi 5 beats it out. But again, I definitely think that the Raspberry Pi 5 has a leg up on the competition in regards to emulation, due to most emulators only use 4 cores and how it's optimized on that particular board. What's going on, Wolf and Nose? Good morning. Is literally double the Pi 4 in performance. That is absolutely true. The other benefit is that, again, most cores or not with processors, but most emulators only see Pi 4s. And so, again, I'll get into that in a later date in regards to the comparison differences between the two different architectures. So this was the only website pieshop.ch. Let's see if they do have them available. This is, let's see, I don't think let me see if I go ahead and translate this. All right, they haven't updated their website either. So you can see this is the brand new chip. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it. You have your USB-C connection here. You have your 2 HDMI outs for 4K 60 frames per second video. You have this is a brand new sock chip that they added here to the board. These are your MIPI connectors here. This is for your camera and additional displays here on the board. Of course, you have your GPIO pin header, and then of course you have a 5 gigabyte USB 3.0 header. And you also have, let's see, your USB 2.0, which is there as well. And you have your Ethernet port as well, too. So we could expect a lot of performance out of this board. Give me one quick second. All right, so you can expect a lot of this in terms of emulation. Again, I want to base more of a test because obviously most of you watch the channel for emulation and other developments. So, let's see if I can pull up the spec here, because I know Jeff Gilling did an absolutely fantastic job with how he presented everything. So he probably has the best spec sheet or breakdown in terms of the performance of this. So let me go ahead and pull it up here while I have it in front of me. All right, so that way you guys can see all this for yourself. All right, so this is the breakdown. This is how the Raspberry Pi 4 is compared to the Orange Pi 5 and the Rock Pi 5B. The CPU, it has 4 ARM A76 cores versus the Orange Pi 5. You guys know it has an 8-core processor, 4-arm A76s, so it's kind of equivalent to the Raspberry Pi in that Pi 5 in that regard. Then it has additional 4-arm A55. The way the architecture works on the Orange Pi 5, and I also believe the Rock Pi 5B, they use something called Big Little. So that's really good if you have a tablet or something where you're trying to conserve power. A cell phone, really good for that. You can't overclock any of those chips. So with the Pi 5, you can overclock it. That's one of the things that we like. That's what we want to do. And so with the Broadcom chip, which is what the Raspberry Pi 5 is using, is made to get the most power out of it. You can overclock it. You leave it plugged in. You can put whatever heat sink and fan you want on it. Those chips are made to deal with throttling. And that's what you want. That's what we want as gamers. That's what we want for emulation. In regards to the Rock Pi chips, the Rock chip, which is the 3588 for the Orange Pi 5 and the Rock Pi 5B, those chips can't be overclocked. In fact, those were some of the main specs that I first saw when I took it out of the box. It's made to alleviate the load. So once the first 4 chips have been fully optimized or fully maxed out, or once they look like they're about to throttle, it then sends the additional processing for multitasking to the additional chips. So that way you get more processing power out of it. So that way it doesn't overheat, doesn't overclock, it doesn't go to throttling. So if you're using the Orange Pi 5, Rock Pi 5B, with, let's say, the RK3588 chip or RK3399. If you're watching videos, multitasking, surfing the web, typing up documents, you're doing multiple things all at once, then that would be the single board computer for you. Now, obviously, you can get some great emulation out of it. I have videos on all that. However, if you want the maximum amount of power possible, let me go back to the Orange Pi 5 and the Rock Pi 5 chip for a second. If you have the additional chips, you have power that's sitting there, but if it's not being used, they're just sitting there. So you're not maxing out all the power on that single board computer, even if it's plugged in. However, if you overclock, or if you have the Raspberry Pi 5, for example, you're getting 2.4 gigahertz consistently, even if it's just plugged in, even if it's idle, even if you overclock it. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm sure most of you won't have a problem with it, because we want to get the most power out of it. But again, if you have, looking at it, if you have a tablet or a cell phone, then the Rock Pi 5 chip is more dedicated for uses like that and multitasking purposes. And of course, the Orange Pi 5 can run PlayStation 2 pretty good. I do believe we may get more performance out of the Raspberry Pi 5 chip, the Broadcom chip, because it is clocked at 2.4 gigahertz. The Orange Pi 5 chip, in fact, this will give you guys an update so you guys could see this. I got my screenshot here. Let's see if I can find it. I know it was in the video. All right, so this is a breakdown of the RK3588 chip. This is what the Orange Pi 5 uses. It uses 4-arm A55 chips at 1.8 gigahertz. So once those start to get taxed, these other chips in the background, which are more powerful, the A76s, start to do the additional work, which is why PlayStation 2 emulation is possible on the Orange Pi 5. But however, with the Raspberry Pi 5, for example, you just have a quad-core processor, which is just going to do all the work initially. So not all of these chips or cores are working at any given time if it's idle. The Raspberry Pi 5 is also using LPDDR4X RAM. So I'm not sure what the Orange Pi 5 is using. It's either using DDR4 or DDR4X. The RK3399 chip, which is what the Arcade 1UP is using. This is the same chip that is in the II Arcade. They're either using DDR3 or DDR4. I'm not sure of the specs on this, but I know that the chip for the RAM type is only clocked at about 1600 megahertz all the way up to 1866. So just even RAM alone compared to the Pi 4 is a lot slower. If they are using DDR3, I'm not familiar with the exact specs on the II Arcade, for example. But even if you're getting, if they were using DDR4, then I'll be a little bit more compatible to a Pi 4. But Again, this is a huge increase. Well, I can't wait to get my hands on these. I have a couple of these on order. Let's pull up another screenshot here. Again, this is from YouTuber Jeff Geerling. This is another performance bench test in regards to how the Pi 4 competes with the Pi 5, the Rock Pi 5B, and the Raspberry Pi 5. So as you can see, in most cases for multitasking, the Rock Pi 5B is beating everybody out on 4K video performance. 1080p, the Orange Pi 5 is beating everybody out on times of performance. However, the Raspberry Pi 5 is still there in terms of specs. And of course, the overall bench test on the PHP bench test, the Raspberry Pi 5 is topping out. But keep in mind, when you do a bench test, that's geared for multitasking. And so the Orange Pi 5 and the Rock Pi 5B will have better uses for multitasking because it has additional cores. That's what it's there for. However, if you're looking at single use properties, let's say if you're just running one application for video editing, you're only watching a video. If you're only gaming, which is typically what we do, then the Raspberry Pi 5 will be up there. It will be highly competitive. In fact, I think in most cases it will surpass what the Orange Pi 5 and Rock Pi 5B can do from a single use application standpoint. Wolfino says that's for things for like PS2 may not fully run 100% yet, but I expect with the Pi 6 it will mostly run things like dips, like PSP now. Chains of Olympus run with minor dips. Yeah, we could actually get full emulation for the most part on the Orange Pi 5. I have some videos on that. I know some of the games, for example, like God of War 2, there were some shader issues. So I think even in the Orange Pi 5, I think my video is probably about 85 to about 90% there, but I think in some cases it's missing shaders. There was a little bit of slowdown time with Time Crisis 2 on PlayStation 2, so we'll just have to wait and see with that. That's why I can't wait to see what we could do with RetroPie. And then also keep in mind too, if you're running things from desktop or running Android, you may get better performance due to video graphic drivers not being supported. And even on the Orange Pi 5 and Rock Pi 5B, you will see better videos in terms of emulation running things from either Android or from a desktop environment, because Linux has some hiccups in terms of seeing Vulkan full compatibility. So that's the only thing that's missing. In fact, if you guys watch, I think it's Lee PSP and also ETA Prime, they have some videos of the Orange Pi 5, for example, running full speed with I think it's Wii U and also with Dolphin. You get full speed there, but however, with RetroPie, it's still a little hiccupy. The performance is there, it's just missing video drivers. So that's where we are right now with emulation. Carl, great to see new single board computers getting deeper into console emulation. Great. I think the Raspberry Pi 5 or the Pi Foundation, they noticed that most of their sales came from retro gaming. So this may have been dedicated specifically. Obviously there's many applications out there and there's other different projects you could do with this, but I know that it was on their radar. So they probably had some of this in mind when they formulated this chip. And I think it's a great idea because, again, most emulators only see 4 cores, is not seeing everything. Carlo, I'm interested in this. I will give Raspberry Pi another chance for console emulation. My Rock chips are running my arcade ROMs pretty good. Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, you can run Super Mario Brothers on this. You can run your NES and all that other stuff. When I run my tests, we'll be running things like PlayStation 2, PlayStation possibly 3 if we could get it to compile. I think, with us delving into the Rock Pi 5 situation with the Orange Pi 5, it gave us the ability to see what else we can run with it. So also we need to make sure that there's full driver support. We had a few hiccups with that with the Orange Pi 5. But so those are pretty much the comparison tests. Let's see here. This is the Linpack 500 benchmark. So you guys can see how the Raspberry Pi 5 competes with the Orange Pi 5 and the Rock Pi 5B. The HPL Top 500. 30 gigaflops is what the Raspberry Pi 5 was registering at. And then 45 gigaflops is what the Orange Pi 5 is running. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Linpack 5 Top 500 benchmark. This could be a multi-processing task. It's not Seeing the full scope of the board, we know that the Pi 5 is limited to 4 cores at 2.4 gigahertz. And I do believe Jeff Gerling and a couple of others were able to clock this at about 2.6 to 2.7. I speculated maybe 2.9, 2.8, maybe up to 3 gigahertz. So we'll see if that's even possible. But this is where we are right now. And there's still a lot of support. I mean, I think most of those content creators had this for about a month. So we'll have to see what this thing could fully do in about the next 6 to 8 months. I think that might do it as far as the performance benchmarks and tests, as far as what I was able to screenshot. Now, the other new addition to the Raspberry Pi 5 is the new Video Core V2 chip. That is their new GPU. So you guys won't find any benchmark tests on it. It's brand new. It is their new GPU processor that they exclusively made for this chip, and how that compares to the Mali G610 MP4. So there are some great advantages to the Mali. Based upon the GPU, we've seen full emulation with the Wii Dolphin, GameCube. In some aspects, I think PlayStation 2 has ran perfectly fine on that. There may have been a few shader issues, so we'll have to keep our eye out on that. This board does come in 2 different increments right now: Raspberry Pi 5, 4 gigabytes, and 8 gigabytes. If I were you guys, I would just opt out and get the 8 gigabytes. These boards are retailing right now for $60 and $80 American. Process nodes are at 16 nanometers versus 8 nanometers and 8 nanometers on the Orange Pi 5 and the Rock Pi 5B. So, and the prices are comparable too, because I think the Orange Pi 5 retail starting out for the 8 gigabyte version is $127. So $80 is the Orange Pi 5 4 gigabyte entry level price. And then, of course, you got to get all the accessories with it. Not too familiar with the Rock Pi 5B. I think the price on that is about $170 American starting out. So those are where you guys are at with prices. But let's get back to some of the websites that are currently offering this right now. We have Villeros. Again, most of these websites have not updated anything. So let's see if we click on this and we're live again. See if it says sold out. So again, don't be turned off for this right now. Most of the companies have not updated their websites. Been having my eye on this. It hasn't moved. As you can see here, they have 1, 2, 4, and 8. However, the Pi Foundation hasn't confirmed the 1 gigabyte model or 2 gigabyte model with this. So we have 4 and 8, which are currently available, starting out at $60. You have an additional active cooler, which you could purchase with this. In fact, let's see. I don't think that website is going to pull up. Let's pull up the Pi Hut really quickly. You can see a list of accessories which are available. I have a few of these on order. The only ones that I can't find right now are this one. This was the only thing that sold out. This 27-watt USB-C power adapter. I can't find it in the US or Europe, and the black one is sold out. So the white one was available, but it's only available in the UK. So the USA version, even maybe they haven't added it at all, but I haven't seen it since late last night. So that's pretty much where we are right now on the Raspberry Pi 5 in terms of the case. I know Jeff, he did a good review on this as well. This case can also be stackable. You can actually put things on top of there. This is very identical to the Raspberry Pi 4 case that I bought in Micro Center. I can't remember if it was Micro Center or I got it through CataKit. Very similar design. However, this one you can take the top off and make these stackable if you want to set things on top. These are going for about $8. These aren't out yet. These are the batteries. If you want to maintain clock consistency, if you're using this for emulation, I can highly doubt that you would need anything like this, but this would be good for a desktop format. If you want to plug it in, it would then go right here on this little connector on the Raspberry Pi. And that's where you can maintain your clock. So you can more or less use this as a desktop computer to maintain time and aspects. I think we have a few more accessories. That's coming soon. That's not even out yet. And then, of course, here we have your camera cable adapter. You have the Leave these are for the MIPI cameras and the additional displays. Pretty much, you will need a new ribbon cable for their Pi 5. The HDMI cable is still the same, the HDMI out. But as far as your power, accessories, obviously you could use your Xbox controller for emulation. That's still not going to change. Your Pi or your Sony controller, that'll still work too. But you will need a new power supply. I don't suggest getting anything that's underpowered because you won't be able to get the full performance value out of it. Even though in most cases you will be able to turn it on, but you will get an alert letting you know that you are getting some bottlenecks. Carl O, any comments on the memory choices? 4 GB is still the sweet spot. I would get the 8 GB. I would just get the 8 GB version. 4 GB, I would still recommend for desktop, but keep in mind that this single board computer is detailed, can run more in terms of the power output, 4K 60 frames per second on each video display, plus additional multitasking. So this is more or less like your desktop computer compared to some of the other single board computers where they were released to say, hey, it's an alternative to a computer or desktop. This one is more dedicated to run like an actual computer. So you want to get the best benefit out of it with full optimization. I would recommend 8 GB. I don't anticipate you guys using this saying, hey, I'm only going to run 1 or 2 applications. So you're going to be limited in certain aspects. So just get the 8 GB and be safe with this, because based upon this spec, you should be able to do some ample video editing. I believe Explain Your Computers did a video on that, showing some of the performance increases with that. So that would be available to you. All right, let's see here. Wolfano saw that they're compatible at one site. Yeah. So as far as I know right now, some of the websites are sold out, but let's see if, you know what, let's go back. Let's see if we're here. All right. So they're back in stock right now at the Pi Hut. So you guys know I started this video earlier. Right now, Pi Hut, I'll send you guys a link. They have some available. At least they're letting me add it to cart. So here you guys go. There's the link if you want to order one right now. There you go. So they looks like they have some of 4 GB available and 8 GB available right now. So and make sure that you guys are getting this active cooler. I can tell you the Rock Pi chip, the Orange Pi 5, I pretty much ran that for several weeks without a fan or heatsink. When I was doing the PlayStation 2 emulation, the highest temps that I got on the Orange Pi 5 was 61 degrees Celsius running PlayStation 2 emulation. This is going to pull more power than that because it has 4 dedicated cores clocked at 2.4 gigahertz. None of the cores on the Rock Pi chip or the RK3588 are clocked at 2.4 gigahertz. I believe those are clocked at 2.0 gigahertz. So you will need a fan and you will need a heatsink. Make sure you include this on every possible order. Make sure if you're buying this as a gift for somebody, you have this included. I don't think it's an option. You may have been able to get away with that in the past with the Pi 3 and the Pi 4, but the Pi 5, you will need to have this. Yeah, well, for those, even if they aren't overclocking, I still think they'll need this before you hit throttle. So again, just trying to give you guys a little bit of insight as far as I've tested so far, PlayStation 2 emulation on these kind of chipsets, I think, which is the most demanding, and that I was using the Asterisk emulator, uses 4 cores at 100%. So out of anything, I don't know if there's anything right now that could fully tax this CPU or this chip other than maybe running multiple different tasks. But I know PlayStation 2 emulation will tax this thing. So you will need to have a chip. And if you guys have followed I encourage you guys to follow my public Facebook page so you can just kind of see some of the stuff that I post randomly, not necessarily stuff that's necessarily video worthy. I just post a lot of random stuff so you guys can kind of stay in the loop as to what you can expect. So let me see if I have a screenshot really quickly, because I know I do a lot of that. Let's see. Pi 4. See if I have a screenshot of my thermal temps from PlayStation 2 emulation. No, I have it on my public page. Let's see here. Let's see, what is this? This is from the Orange Pi 5. That was my Mac temps 55. That's on the big core. Oh, you know what? I never even paid attention to this on the Rock Pi chip, so I might as well just show it to you guys now. So these were some of the temps I was getting on the big core and the little core. So 57 degrees Celsius when I did my benchmark test on the Rock Pi, on the Rock chip 333588. So these are thermal tests, 56 degrees on the big core. So that's how it breaks down. I've never actually paid attention to it. Just noticed it. Let's see if I have another temp here. So these are the cores, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all the results. All right. I'll follow up on that. Never actually paid attention to that, for the most part. So, but yeah, these are the places right now where you could get your Raspberry Pi 5. I've been following some of these. Again, most of these have not updated their website. Micro Center. I think that'll probably be the best choice or best chance for a lot of people. This website hasn't updated anything either. Let's translate. Let's look at Raspberry Pi. See if there's a Pi 5 somewhere in here. Pi 3. 16 gigabytes. A plus. No, I don't see anything here. So it doesn't look like anything's been updated on that particular site either. Let's try Raspberry Pi Shop. Not sure where they're based out of. Model 4. Let's translate to English. See if Raspberry Pi 5. I think this is, I'm not sure where this is based out of. Oh, they have one in stock. So I'll send you guys this link. For those of you, I'm not sure which country this may be in. This could be Poland or someplace. So I'll just send you guys the link in case any of you want to order directly if you guys are overseas. There you go. And of course, I'll leave most of these links here in the description of this video when this is done. But this one's also in stock. Where it says add to basket. I don't know why it says add to basket here, and then down here at the bottom it says not in stock. So I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see if we can go to their European website and translate to English. Yeah, it says add to basket, then it says it's not in stock. So I don't know what's going on with that. But all these websites haven't updated their sites yet. So again, I wanted to help add clarification. Nothing is sold out. Let's try the Raspberry Pi store or Raspberry store. See what we have here. Raspberry. Okay, looks like this company is out of stock as well. This company is selling kits. I haven't seen anything on Amazon either. So it looks like these kits are going for $139. I'm sure most of you have an HDMI cable. You won't need that. You'll have your SD card. You won't need that. You won't need an Ethernet cable. You will need, of course, the Pi, the case. And I believe this particular case comes with a fan, but I definitely like that standalone fan a lot better as a better option. Or unless that one's built in. Maybe this one already has this built in. I can't tell from the picture. Then, of course, you have the 27-watt power supply. So it says pre-order for October 23rd, 2023. Raspberry Pi 5 with 8 gigabytes of internal memory. Starting from the Raspberry Pi 5, we no longer distinguish between model A or B, but the Pi 5 is comparable in model to the Pi 4. So it's twice as 5 as the Pi 4. Interesting device for hobbyists. The Raspberry Pi released in 2023 is the Raspberry Pi version 5, 2 to 3 times faster than the Pi 4. We've seen all this. 16 gigabytes of noobs. And again, it looks like this company here is out of stock, or they haven't added it to their website. So they haven't really been out of stock. So that's another website there. Let's try PB Tech. Never heard of them before. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some gouging, as it is with always. Afraid gouging is already happening just with pre-orders from what I'm seeing. Most of these sites, though, they're only allowing people to order one. So I think they've kind of cut down on that. I mean, unless people are using multiple aliases or payment methods, I'm not sure how they're going to crack down on it, but there's going to be enough for everybody. Supply and pricing is why no one uses these in home arcade products. If they want to capture that biz, they need to correct that. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we don't have any images or anything out yet, so you guys can expect that maybe in the next, 2 or 3 months after developers get it. I know one of the devs have commented about that, and I know that's been an alarming issue of concern. Is sometimes a lot of reviewers get these boards, obviously, and I get that for advertisement purposes, but no true developers really get this to really push the barriers of what it can do, as far as I know, when they release products like this. And so you'll have a lot of reviewers posting things saying, hey, well, we got to wait for more development, but you would have the development if developers actually got it first. And I've actually mentioned that to one of the Pi reps when I was at Micro Center in 2021. So hopefully they keep things like that in mind. Freight gouging is already happening, yada, yada. Nevo 1972. ETA Prime has a video out 3 times, single CPU core over Pi 4. Definitely. Thanks for appreciate that. Yeah, we've seen I think I've kind of seen all the videos for the Raspberry Pi 4. I'm sorry, Raspberry Pi 5 as far as what's been released early last night. If you use your Pi 4 adapter, is fine. It'll just run lower power. Definitely. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, we mentioned that a little earlier here in the stream. Wolfino states that at the cost would probably be $90 instead of $80, but still. It's definitely worth it. I think it's a very fair price. I mean, especially considering the other single board computers are starting out at $127, roughly within this price range to get the kind of performance you're looking for. 27 watts, 5 volt, 5 amps is the new power adapter. It would definitely worth getting, of course. Yeah, you guys want to make sure you get the official adapter. I was looking at some of the Uniker power supplies. I'm not sure if they're putting out that kind of power. I will double check. I was looking at some of my specs last night, but I'm not sure if it's putting out 27 watts, 5 volts, 5 amps. I know some of these, I think it's putting out 100 watts, I believe. Or if you get the one that costs $200, I think it's putting out 200 watts, but I'm not sure of the volts and the amps on the individual power supplies inputs on those Uniker power adapters. In fact, I got a video on that. So if it were mandatory, they would have sold it with the board. However, very true. But yeah, if you guys are using this, I would suggest getting the chip. I think Explain Your Computers or a couple of other YouTubers, they just had a basic heatsink on that. I'm not sure if it was because they didn't get it, but let's just be on the safe side. I mean, I think that chip was how much again for that fan? Let's go back again. I think that fan was how much again? $5. We're definitely not breaking the bank, but that's definitely a great point, Wolfnos. Definitely a great point. Yeah, what is this thing? Like $5? So we're not breaking the bank here. Let's go to translate. Yeah, $6.50 over another country. Out of stock. So, again, most of these haven't been updated. I just get it, me personally. But the cool thing is too, if you have a existing Raspberry Pi 4 and you are using the the ice coolers, I believe those are compatible as well. So some of those accessories, when I was talking to the rep, some of this isn't true in terms of all the accessories are going to be changed out. I believe other content creators have been using those ice tower coolers. And I believe also this form factor is very similar to the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus in terms of where they have the placement of where they align the Ethernet adapter and the USB ports on this particular chip. Yeah, definitely if we're overclocking, you want to have some additional power supplies. Nivo 1972. I really hope GeekPi makes an extension board to adapt mini HDMI to full size. So yeah, the one that I have for the Pi 4 works very well. So yeah, your ice tower cooler will automatically work. I've already seen that. I think Jeff Gilling has that in his particular video. So your HDMI cables, your controllers, your a couple of other accessories obviously are going to be needed, but everything is definitely, most of these accessories I'm glad to see are well under $10. Supply and pricing is what I know I use. Okay, I think we already got that. Carl Thunderberry 5 never really released. More competition is great. I'm not sure what the Thunderberry Pi 5 is, or Thunderberry 5 is. So you want to elaborate on that? So again, this is the list. I'm going to go ahead. If any of you guys have questions, want to jump on this live stream here. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please keep it friendly or whatnot. Make sure you have your microphone and everything set up if you guys want to jump on here for a few minutes and have some things or questions you want to discuss and talk about. But towards the end of the week, I will give you guys an exact breakdown as how this compares with the Rock Pi chip. Let's see here. So this company, believe they sell, looks like they sell a little bit of everything with, what do you call these things? The 3D printers. Doesn't look like they have any of these in stock. I'm not even sure if they're selling those yet, but they're typically distributors. But again, even when I was talking to the Element 14 Australia website distributor, they sent the email out. I got this information again from Pi Mania. Shout out again for him for alerting me to this. And their website, even though they sent the email out for pre-order, they still didn't have anything in stock. So they were waiting for their website to get it updated. All right, does this website have any in stock? Let's take a look here. Let's go to translate. Raspberry Pi 5, 8 gigabytes. Looks like this website has some in stock for a pre-order. So not sure where this website is based out of. So I'll just go ahead and share it here. You guys could do your own due diligence. Qualcomm QC-S10 Snapdragon was supposed to be, the Power Thunderberry 5. Okay. M.2 would have been nice. Yeah, you could still run the USB Wolfenos on there. You could still run USB 3.0. If you guys have a Samsung T7, you'll get the best performance out of that. The additional speeds from the SD card slot itself have been optimized, so you will get better performance, even using a standard SD card. So you don't have to use a USB drive or a Samsung T5 or T7, which is what I would prefer. That would be the best optimization for a single board computer like this. But you will get additional speeds out of the performance. So yeah, I honestly don't know. I really wasn't feeling too much of the M.2 slot, even on the Orange Pi 5. Reason being, I could use my SSD, my external SSD, my T7, T5 drives on anything. You plug it in your computer, do whatever you want with it. The M.2 slot, I mean, you're only using that on the actual motherboard of a computer. I mean, you could get an expansion slot for that. But me, just personally, I would just prefer just to use the USB portion of it and not an actual M.2 slot. I think most cases you have less options to use the M.2 slot than you would USB. All right, let's pull up some additional website here. So these are, again, the full list of where you could currently buy a Raspberry Pi 5 and see if it's in stock. Let's see, Raspberry Pi 3, Pi 4. Pi 4, 5 is not listed as of yet. So I think some of these guys are still sleeping, or maybe they really didn't want to get sued, break an NDA. So maybe they just said, you know what, we'll just wait an additional day or so before we're updating. So yeah, because I know a lot of people were posting on Twitter last night. I posted my video, and then I think about 30 minutes later, I know I saw ETA Prime's video pop up. So I know that the announcement video from the Pi Foundation came at around 7 a.m. UK time. But so maybe these companies are just waiting to update their sites today. Let's take a look, see if they have, let's see, Raspberry Pi. Yeah, they don't have anything here for Pi 5. So they will have some available whenever they get a chance. And again, I wonder if Argon will have Argon as a supplier. I haven't seen anything here, so maybe they'll have something available for the Pi 5 pretty soon. Well, I know reviewers said that they've had the Raspberry Pi 5 now for about a month. So at least some of these distributors will probably have already started going to work on something, getting something out for production. Let's see. Again, no mention here of Raspberry Pi 5. Their website has not been updated, so you guys still have a chance to order the one directly from this website as well. Yeah, Kiodiekin's on the list, but their website hasn't been updated yet. Kiodiekin's actually here, so let's go take a look at it. Let's see. We have Kiodiekin, and Kiodiekin does have. They do have it listed. Let's see, Pi 5. Yeah, see, they have it listed, but they don't have anything available. It just says coming soon. So that's what I was just telling everybody. Just don't worry about people saying it's sold out. But we have a lot of high expectations for it. Been talking to the Supreme team. Again, we've worked out the kinks with Orange Pi 5. We have a lot of stuff going on with that. So that expanded our knowledge and capabilities in terms of what we can do, what we can't do, getting a better understanding of emulation. Some of the emulators, obviously, because most emulators only see a limited amount of cores, in some cases still will run the same. However, as far as I know, the Raspberry Pi 5 is probably the only single board computer clocking at around 2.4 gigahertz individually. So even though the Rock Pi 5 and Orange Pi 5 has more cores as far as multi-core processing and multitasking, their chipsets aren't clocked out to 2.4 gigahertz, and you can't based upon the architecture. In fact, again, as I've said earlier in this video, you're not supposed to overclock with their big little architecture. That was a huge surprise. But most of us, that's what we want to do. We want to overclock this as much as possible. Let's see here. It has the PCIe 2.0 one interface for fast peripherals. I know you can hook up a higher end video card to this. Jeff Geerling has videos on that as well. You guys can check out his channel. So that would be cool to see what we could even get as far as emulation, hooking up a bigger video card to this. I wonder how it will perform with, let's say, my NVIDIA 2080 or a card that's smaller. A little overkill for what we want to do, but I think, it's just cool to see in terms of checking out. But one of the biggest advantages, I think I've kind of flossed over this, the Video Core V2 7 GPU that they've released is capable of running OpenGL 3.1 and Vulkan 1.2. So if you've seen any of the Orange Pi 5, Rock Pi 5 chip videos, you have seen what the board can do. So that'll give you an indication as to what type of performance you can expect with that. I have videos on that, as well as some of the other content creators. If you want to see the best possible emulation performance, you would need to watch Emulation Base in an Android scenario, and also Gelios. I think Gelios front end truly optimizes the Vulkan 1.2. I believe it does. I'm not sure. I don't think it's using OpenGL 3.1 for some of their emulation, but it's using Vulkan 0.2 to get the job done. All right, let's take a look here. We'll go back to another site. Let's see, Pi 3G, if they have anything available currently. A lot of these websites are based in Germany or Switzerland. Let's see here, machine learning. Let's take a look. Oh, sweet. So it looks like some of you guys are already saving money on these, because it looks like some of you guys already grabbed a couple of these already. Sweet. Yeah, and in most cases, I think some of you will be buying 2 of these, at least to have one for a backup. You don't want to blow out the first one and then have to wait several more weeks for a second one. So I'm going to see if I can get at least 3 of these if I can. I don't see... This website doesn't look like it has anything. So, let's see here. Raspberry Pi boards. Website does not look like it's been updated at all. All right, so this website hasn't been updated either. So let's back out of here. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, we have a lot of things out there we're going to have our high hopes for. Let's go ahead and take a look at this quick video. In fact, let me go ahead and do a screen capture, share screen.